Her name is Tom Boijana. How Uganda started. First of all, there was Berlin Conference, 1984. That's where the Europeans sat and the Germans and the Belgians, they sat to divide Africa amongst themselves.
So Africa was a one continent without countries.
That countries, okay, the countries were there, but these people, when they came, for example, as far as let's concentrate on Uganda.
Yeah.
Uganda became a protectorate. Kenya became a colony. Buganda became a protectorate because it had kingdoms. That's the difference. A colony was directly controlled from Europe. Uganda, I think you can call it the semi-federal because the kingdoms, Toro, Bunyoro, Ankole, and Buganda, and Busoga. Those ones, they had their own administrative structures. We are not controlled directly from London. That's the difference. And Uganda became a protectorate. But initially, this was 1994, it was called Buganda, not Uganda.
Buganda. Yes.
Because that's where these people arrived. They found the kingdom called Buganda. And even the 1900 agreement you hear about, it was not the Uganda agreement. It was the Buganda agreement. That was the Buganda agreement.
Yes.
Had a resistance from Kabarega and Muwanga.
Kabarega here of Bunyoro.
Kabarega of Bunyoro. In fact, they were exiled in the Seychelles.
What was the reason for Kabaregas being exiled? Was he trying to resist the British protection?
Oh yes, he had his own army, and he tried to resist these people taking over his.
So he was trying to disobey.
Yes.
So how strong was his army by then?
Okay, of course, there are these people with spears and this and that. Even Muwanga, Kawaka, by then.
So those two kingdoms, I think they were the strongest.
Yeah, they are the strongest. They are strongest. They had armed fellows and whatnot to use. Even the Kabarega, in fact, was expanding, taking over. You hear of lost countries in Uganda and this and that. And as far as, for example, Toro Kingdom, one of his sons, Olim Kaboyo, rebelled in 1822. That's how this Toro Kingdom was formed. In 1900 agreement, we stayed, for example, we had these kingdoms having their own institutions. For example, they had here, Lake Toro here. We had the king, we had the prime minister, we had even the parliament, or Kurato, which was in Mucha just below the palace. And Buganda, of course, they also had the Rukiko and this and that. So when these people came, you've heard of Legico, Legislative Council, where they used to make laws and this and that. So Buganda, I think, had some people on that Legico.
Who were the people who used to sit on the Legico? Were there some Africans?
No, they were mainly Europeans.
Europeans only.
Europeans only.
The Legico was of which year?
No, starting when they took over, they had to have administrative structures.
Okay.
These are what will not, when you talk of DCs and the provincial commissioners and this and that. For example, Uganda had Western Province, right from Kigezi up to Bunyoro. And the center, the head provincial commissioner, PC, was where the state lodge is now in Fort Portal. That's the one who used to look after the western region. Of course, they had Uganda, they had Soganda, the north, and whatever. What happened when they were having these Legico and this and that when people were agitating to have independence. That's when they went to Lancaster, conference.
That conference of Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Yes.
That's where they made the 1961 Constitution. And we had some representative there. And that's the Constitution which was promulgated in 1861.
Before the 1861, how was the Buganda before becoming to Uganda? The Buganda we are looking at currently. How was it, if we could give the picture of the cities we had? Maybe I don't know if we ever had the one in Fort Porto currently where we are. We talk of Kampala and other places. How was the people living, and how was the economy look like during that time?
No, that time most people were in agriculture and cattle keeping.
Whereas some hunters.
Oh, of course. Now, I'll give you an example. I mean, the chiefs used to have, even the king, they used to have guns, and they would go to game reserves to do hunting. When you talk of fighting for independence and whatever, and we had some representative going to Lancaster, his castle.
So there were some representatives from Africa.
Yes, you've been from here, Africa. You're going to Lancaster conference.
Yes.
Talk about the Constitution. Because the people wanted independence, fighting for independence.
Was that for Uganda or for the whole of Africa?
That time, I remember very well that after 1961, that's when he had elections. Because there were parties there. You had the DP, you had the UPC, and Kabaka Yeka.
Kabaka Yeka was also a party.
Yeah, it was a party.
That was for Kabaka only.
For Kabaka, for Buganda only.
Yeah, Buganda. Kabaka Yeka.
Only. Now, when we talk of political parties, you had, for example, systems, parliamentary system and a presidential system. Parliamentary system is universal adult suffrage for appointing, electing the prime minister or the president. So the party with the majority of members of parliament is the one which would have become the prime minister or the president. So in fact, 1961, DP won. Kiwanuka was the first prime minister. Yeah, before independence, Kiwanuka.
So Kiwani became the first president of Uganda?
No, the prime minister.
Not president?
Oh, no, not president.
But then we had not established the presidential.
No, presidential system was not there. So you know why he became the prime minister? Winning because DP won, because you had this sectarian politics, because Catholics, DP Benikonko was a Catholic, and they are the majority even up to now. And the UPC was siding with the Protestant and whatever it is. So this is what happened. So what happened after 1961 elections? Ben Kiwanuka became the first prime minister, and 1962 elections, even Kiwanuka DP had won, but UPC joined Kabaka Yeka, an alliance with Kabaka Yeka. Uganda more or less got a federal status. Other kingdoms also, Toro also had some of it, but Uganda had more. And in fact, if you talk of independence, the Duke of Kent, on 8th, he went to Bulangi before launching, performing the ceremony on 9th. So, to me, Buganda got independence before before the whole of Uganda. If the man who came to represent the Free went to Bulangi
Buranga and he.
on 8th, and on 9th, that's when we had the independence on
That was in Buganda.
Buganda.
So before becoming Uganda, how was it declared Uganda, not Buganda?
Now it was a misnomer, and in fact, when I presented the paper in CA, 1994, disputing that we became Ugandans by default, because those people came to Uganda. They found the people of Uganda was the biggest kingdom there, so they called us all Ugandans. Oh. And in fact, I made a comparison with the animals in the national parks. How come all animals are not called elephants? Because it is the biggest animal.
Yes.
So, in fact, some of our problems started like that.
Mm-hmm.
The present today, even in fact, I was appealing, you better go back, find the root causes of our problems.
That was a big problem of calling us, of following us.
No, of hiding us all together. People with different culture, norms, and whatnot, they had us together and they called us Ugandans. Because those people came with guns. Now, the problem which we had, when they came, they were King African Rifles. You've heard of Tunda African Rifles. When it came to recruitment here in Uganda, they recruited the Northerners because they had all the hate. I think that was the beginning of the problems which we have here. For example, Northerners were the majority, actually Langis on the even West Nile, whatever. And this what happened. Okay, before we go to that one, is in 1963, after Havi Kabaka Yeka and the UPC, Uganda became a republic. And that's when the presidency started. Kabaka Mutesa was the first president in 1963, and he was overthrown in 1966. That's when he went next.
That was when after Uganda gaining
independence. When we got independence, Obote was the prime minister.
Now, taking you back slowly, who named the name Uganda, not making it Buganda?
No, there was a transition. I think the British realized it, that let's put all these people together, call them Ugandans.
That was 1962. Uganda had soldiers, or we had the ones for kings?
No, the government, when they came, of course, they even had the British, they had the army and whatever, barracks, whatever it is. They had to establish security structures.
Okay.
There was the army, the police, and prisons.
So this was the British is the one which helped to set up these systems for Ugandans.
Oh yes, I mean for administrative purposes. Administrative purposes, that's why they mean it was a protectorate, and they had these kingdoms, and these people who didn't have organized cultural institutions were being managed directly from the center. And in fact, that one worked very well. There wasn't much conflict. Apart from Kawalega and whatnot, who wanted to expand his empire, and Muwanga and whatever he did, the rest of the kingdom didn't have any problems. We never had any problem with Wasoga, Baganda, and
they were very okay with this.
Yeah.
So there was the king who wanted to expand his territory to another.
Yeah. I mean, Kawalega did that.
What was the impact?
Oh, it was very well felt, because I mean that's why I'm saying they had even come to this place. This was part of Kawarega's empire. It was not until his son rebelled, that's when it came a kingdom.
Was it when he wanted to expand it to was it Tanzania, Kenya?
No, Tanzania.
You want to take some part of Tanzania?
Yes, part of Tanzania.
So the mission failed. What was the reason for the mission failed?
His soldiers were not that capable.
We are not capable
Yeah, I know.
to win the battle.
Didn't have the numbers really and such. Because spreading, going to invade these areas and whatnot, needed a big force, whatever, which he didn't do. He didn't have at that particular time.
Let's go back. Now, Milton Obote became the third president of Uganda.
Yes.
What was the Uganda of that time after Dr. Milton Obote becoming the third president of Uganda?
Now, of course, that the problem is once they started fighting using the army. And in fact, when you see is what they call pigeonhole constitution, which was made by Binaisa. And these people, because using the guns, they were told, the MPs were told to find your constitution in your pigeonholes. That's why they call it pigeonhole.
Pigeonholes.
Pigeonhole constitution.
Oh, okay.
Is what happened. Now with the army, we have never had a transition in Uganda since independence.
We have never had transition of power.
Of power.
You mean peaceful power?
Peaceful power. It was just the gun.
Since the first president of Uganda, that was Mutesa I.
Mutesa I, removed by the gun. Obote came with that.
So that was
also removed by the gun.
By the gun?
By Amin.
By Amin.
Amin was also removed by the gun. Very well, Tanzania came and helped these Kikos Malum and Fronasa to remove Amin. Then Obote comes back.
Obote came back.
Obote comes back.
Yes.
And he was removed by Tito Okello.
Tito Okello also used the gun.
The guns. And then NRA also removed Tito
Okello with the gun.
With the gun.
So we don't know what will happen next. Let's go back. Let's go back to the story. Now we are going back to Dr. Milton Obote ruling Uganda. How was Uganda looking like, and how was the economy of Uganda by then?
That time we had exports. Coffee. Mainly coffee. And cotton, beautiful cotton. For example, we had 1952. We had Kironde mines. But that one was for Toro, not Uganda.
Was for Toro.
Yeah, well, for Toro. So even the kingdom used getting royalties from the copper and in the mines.
The money which used to get from that gold mine was benefiting Toro.
Copper, from copper. The government used to take share, but even the royal class, the kingdom used to have royalties coming from copper and Kironde.
Okay.
And besides that, for example, Toro was gifted, we had salt.
From Katwe.
From Katwe.
Yes.
Katwe, that one was, all the money was coming to Toro Kingdom.
No, that money used to come directly to Toro Kingdom.
Toro Kingdom.
But now I see it's as if the system changed.
Yeah, the system changed. But what I would like to go back in the protectorate system. In that, for example, we had our own parliament, our prime minister and this and that. Then we had our own security, and we had the Saza chiefs, Gombora chiefs and this and that. Those structures were there. Even we had our own prison, for example. There was Katojo and Mohoti. Mohoti was for the kingdom. And Katojo was for the central government.
Was that still the time of Dr. Milton Obote?
Yeah, even before that, even he took over what the kingdom used to have its own whole structure. Yeah.
Okay, they used to have their own structures.
Yes, security and whatever it is. For example, the kingdom had its own roadworks. They used to do these community roads and whatever it is. And the central government had, of course, the works department, doing the major roads.
Each kingdom had to benefit from the things which are in their territory.
Yeah, but is what we call, the tax which used to go, rentals, whatever it is, you go straight to the center. But there are some of the taxes collected locally, they were retained in the kingdom. And that's where they got money to run some of these institutions.
How was Milton Obote overthrown from the power?
From the power? In fact, they had problems with Amin because of the gold in the DRC, in Congo. It was called Congo that time. They went there, thought Amin got money from the sale of gold from there.
So but then Amin was working as what in the government?
He was one of the soldiers. He had joined the KR. Then when he came to Uganda and whatnot, he was promoted in ranks in Uganda army.
Yes.
Yeah, and Obote used to trust him so much. So what happened because of that misunderstanding they had of the gold money from the Congo.
Yes.
So in 1871, when he was going for Singapore for the conference, he left instructions to Akena Doko. That was in the army. Now, what happened? He had a vice president. John Wabia was John Wabia from this end.
John Wabia was from Toro. Yes.
So when he went for that conference, he left instructions to have Amin arrested.
He went and said you should arrest Amin.
Yeah, he went to Singapore for the conference. And Amin got that information.
That you need to be arrested.
Yeah, he had got to be arrested. So that's how he took over.
He was like, no, you can't arrest him.
In fact, when that coup took place, I was staying with my late brother in Colonial. And Babia was the vice president, was just below Sanity View, I think Prince Philip Drive. And he was never attacked by soldiers making the coup. Because they knew he was what, he didn't even know that Amin Obote had left instructions to have
Amin
arrested. In fact, I remember even the announcement of taking over. I had gone to Susanna to buy some drinks. To go and drink at home.
Yes.
So, can you imagine even civilians were riding on tanks on the road?
They were happy.
There was no looting, no nothing.
That was like a normal situation.
They took over, and there was nothing. I think people were not killed.
There was no like anything like bullet fights.
No.
So how did Amin manage to do that?
He had his people, of course. He had his people from West Nile who were in the army. Yeah, so that's why it is this question of power lies the mouth of the gun. And when you find out, even I've raised this question earlier, because you cannot rule Uganda without a gun. Because in fact, when Obote was competing with the Semogereri, he teased him where are generals. This one happened. And that's why I've told you, the genesis of power lies in the mouth of the gun. If we don't look at it, because now, as they said, there has never been peaceful transition from one government to the other. It was just using the gun.
Just using the gun. Okay. Now, when Obote got the information that you are no longer the president of Uganda, Idi Amin has took over your seat, what was his reply? Did he came back to Uganda or he...
No. He arrived in Nairobi. From Nairobi, went to Tanzania in exile.
He didn't come back to...
No, he didn't. He couldn't. There was no way he could have come back to Uganda.
Yes.
That's how he went in exile.
So,
in Tanzania.
In exile, what was he planning during that time in exile?
Of course, that's when he started Kikosi Mareu.
Kikosi Maalum with the people of Tanzania.
No, in Tanzania.
Yes.
And of course his people, Amin, when he took over, he was following these Acholi and the Langis who went the arm and whatnot. So these people, most of them had to go to Sudan. And from Sudan, they went
to Tanzania.
And in fact, there's one thing which I've mentioned it before. Amin and Nyerere fought a proxy war. And that war never liberated the Uganda. It liberated the Rhodesia.
The Rhodesians.
Yes. Because Tanzania and even Mozambique had sent troops to go and assist Mugabe and Nkomo to fight the whites. So the whites thought, there's a rumor that they sent a squadron which attacked an army post at Mutukula.
At Mutukula, yes.
They hit and withdrew. And Amin thought that the Kikosi Maalum, the Obote forces which had attacked his borders, the massacre in 1972, the same people who had come and attacked Mutukula. That's how he was, how he entered. He entered the Kagera Salient. That's how it started. He moved there without any resistance because most of battalions of Tanzania were in Mozambique trying to assist Mugabe to
fight the whites.
To fight the whites. So what happened when Tanzania withdrew its troops, battalions from
Mozambique.
So
they
came.
Yeah, they came support the Milton Obote.
They came and supported these rebels
of Kikosi Maalum.
And Museveni's from NASA. So after chasing Amin from Kagera and after capturing Masaka and Mbarara, they wanted to withdraw the Tanzanians.
The Tanzanians were like, no, we are tired.
We're finished. Chase those baggers from our territory. So we withdraw. Then the British said, if we withdraw, Amin is going to kill people. Go full hog. That's how Tanzanians came. For example, Western Axis. Fronasa took Western Axis. It was only Kikosi Maalum which came with Tanzanian capture Entebbe and Kampala.
So the forces of Idi Amin, you mean they did not fight back the Kikosi Maalum? How was the security of Idi Amin? Why couldn't Idi Amin fight back at these people?
No, there was no way because he had to withdraw. Which means, Mbarara, even here, his soldiers had to withdraw.
These soldiers were weak to respond.
No, he tried very much in Kagera and whatever it is.
The other board.
The other board and whatnot. But when they came in big numbers and this and that. So
he had to surrender.
No, he didn't surrender as such. He withdrew tactically.
I was like, no.
Because I was in Entebbe, even when the first shell landed at Entebbe airport. I was staying with my brother. We were at Lake Vic Hotel.
Yes.
Amin came, he drove to the airport when the shells had just landed. And the soldiers had run away. He came when they was telling them, a shell can only hit 1 or 2 people, you go back. Can you imagine even when Kampala fell, Amin had stayed at, he was at Mulago. He woke up very early in the morning, he drove through Ntinda. He had a mobile van radio announcing that he was still in control. So you passed.
So he was like, no, I can't manage.
He went to Ginger, still broadcasting that he was still in power. until he reached in Soroti.
So he didn't resist, say like, no, I'm going to remain in the sea.
No. That one, he knew he couldn't manage these people.
There are two stories I want to talk about. How was the story of Idi Amin when he chased the Asians? And how was that the time when he was giving away the properties of Asians? What was the reason?
What's the reason? In fact, Amin was a friend with Gaddafi. They were friends. And in fact, Gaddafi, he had a spirit that no Libyan should hire a house from a fellow Libyan. So every Libyan had a family had a house and a car. So free education. No, that Libyan should not rent from a fellow Libyan.
Are you like serious?
Yes.
Because now we are seeing it here in Uganda. You build your house, I come and rent, I pay you money.
But that was not the case in Libya.
How did he manage that? Because now it is quite hard.
No, how did he manage it? And this is what I want to tell you. Oh, everybody is unique character. I can't think like you, can't think like me.
Yeah, you can.
And in fact, now I'll tell you a very interesting story. Amin got excited about the oil. Gaddafi cautioned him, said, go slow, oil. You know, Gaddafi had to he said, oil is not a renewable energy. Even he picked a cue. In fact, it was, can you imagine when he had that idea of not Libyan hiring a house from a fellow Libyan? Do you know what Amin did? He bought all embassy buildings abroad. Even Trafalgar Square, Belgium. And
in every country.
Yes. And search and see Uganda House in New York. 15-storied building. He built. 15. He built it with Uganda money from Kofi.
Yeah.
A penny saved is a penny earned. For example, all our high commissioners and whatever embassies are not paying rent. But it is a pity even some buildings are being condemned because of not having proper maintenance. But a very interesting thing is so many African embassies in America are having their offices in that building, that structure. But I've never had Minister of Finance giving a budget announcing how much money they get from that building. From that building. Yeah. I'm saying that every character is unique. You see, even when the East African community broke down, Amin started the airline. He bought those aircrafts and started the railway. Those ones, the railways we used to have, Kenya took them, whatever it is. Kenya took them. But then Amin had to buy those locomotives and whatever it is. Yeah.
Why did Amin decide to chase the Asians from
Asians? Yeah, because those ones, I mean, when you talk of the triangle, you had the British on top, then the Asians controlling the trade and commerce.
Yes.
Then the Africans were just clerks and whatever it is in this government. Whatever.
So Africans are not controlling anything?
No, they are not controlling commerce. So that's why Amin had to chase away the Indians so that Africans can take over.
The commerce.
Yeah, the commerce. And this is what happened. Can you imagine even one of his wives, I won't mention the name, wanted to take one of the Asian property, said no member family would get. Nobody can say, I mean, his family or his son or whatever, wife had the property after chasing away Asians. No. So it's not there.
There's a video which trended was like Amin was giving out the property of Asians to Ugandans.
Yeah, they were moving, people being allocated to whatever it is. Can you imagine even when he took over, there was no looting in that city. So people went and got those things free.
So he was like, Tom, I'm giving you this property.
Yes. With all whatever it is. And the thing, departed agents, the system departed agents' property. And those people who were chased away, who were British citizens, were compensated.
They were given back their money.
Yes, you are paid their money. But those people, some of them came back and reclaimed those things which they had already paid for.
Obote came back in power.
Yes. After the fall of Amin, I was managing. After 6 months, I took over management of Nairobi. 1980, in fact, before elections of 1980, I had to go in exile.
You had to run away.
Yeah, I had to run away because I was tipped. Because now I had become a member of UPM. So the UPCs were not happy with me. A good thing during a military commission, I had a good relationship with Paul Muwanga. In fact, his suite was adjacent to mine. Even he used to come and share something in my suite.
Yes.
Even he was allocated a ministerial Mercedes Benz when they are doing allocation. I didn't have the money. My brother lent me the money to buy it. There were some allocations of vehicles. So I was tipped. I had to go to exile 12 days before elections. What happened? Of course, DP still had the muscle of winning the elections. But that's why even they had to remove the chairman of military commission because DP was winning. That's how Muwanga put there somebody else to announce the results. That time I was not in Uganda. One thing which I will tell you is immediately Museveni started the PRA to fight Obote. Then and these people in the north also had their own organizations to military to fight Obote. So right from the beginning, there was a resistance to fight him.
So Obote has very many of Kakuns preparing to overthrow him.
Yes.
So still, they had to win him down.
Yes.
Okay. So you were in exile during that time, and you were supporting UPM.
Yes, I was supporting UPM. In fact, that was the reason why they had these people to fight me, because they were supporting UPM, and they thought they were not comfortable having a UPM man managing that big place.
They were like, no, we can't have you.
Yeah. So that's how, in fact, I've never joined anybody's party.
Apart from UPM?
No, I have never joined anybody's party. I've been a fond member. Age of 13, I was one of the youth wingers.
Oh, UPC.
UPC. In UPM, same thing. Even the Kasiki took place in my suite. Can you imagine staying near the chairman of military commission and you host people in another party, whatever it is. So even NRM was one of the fond members of NRM in Nairobi. Whereby Lule and Museveni may studied the NRM in my brother's house in Nairobi.
You were there?
Yes, we were there.
How was that plan of coming back to fight the Milton Obote?
Milton Obote, of course, Lule had the UFF, the freedom fighter. Museveni had the PRA. That's how they joined to have.
They were friends.
No, they were not. They didn't know each other as such. But for Museveni to start his war in Uganda, he needed somebody who was a Muganda, who was being accepted by the Uganda. So that's how the two merged. Yes.
UFF and
Popular Resistance Army.
Yes.
and UFF, Uganda Freedom Fighters. Yes.
So you were in that plan. How were they?
I was a member of external committee on security, finance and supplies, and political. I was one of those people.
I think you personally, you had a big hand you contributed.
Yes, he did.
In a process of securing Uganda.
Securing Uganda and, for example, communication between the bush and the external wing and whatnot.
So you were
played a hand there. And used even people were going to Libya and this and that, and used to organize even passports for them and that kind of stuff. Even for example, after the peace jokes, you had peace jokes. Tito, Okello and Museveni in Kenya, the peace talks, whatever it is. And in fact, Kenya government more gave NRA ammunition. And one, you see, there's what we call needed to know. You had a system whereby once you are sent a mission, you have to stop somewhere. You don't have to know what goes on next for security reasons. So for example, when they got these ammunitions from Kenya government, my role was to find a house where they could be stored. How they were removed, how they what, that was not my concern.
Just store the meats. That was your role.
That's how we survived, because people went in exile. Some went to Libya and all these places. They went to Europe, Mundas and whatever.
They were.
What for us? For some of us stayed.
In
Kenya.
You were like, no,
I stayed in Kenya. Because of that, even they had some connections with the forces in Kenya, just like that. We stayed behind. We never went to exile. Stayed in Kenya.
You were like, no, we have to secure this country.
It's a pity. Can you imagine even after the fall of, when we came back in 86. I came with my pickup, even the bed where I used to sleep, I put it in my pickup and I brought it here. It is still here, even the mattress. Can you imagine? I never wanted to go back to exile again.
You are like, no.
And I would have gone to some of these European countries and been exiled there, but I wanted to at least to be near home.
You are like, no, let me pack up my things and go back home. So that was the time before NRA taking over the power.
Yeah. External wing. We did a lot of work, although some people not want to, because all these people trusting going into Europe and all these places were the ones who used to arrange everything there in Kenya and Nairobi.
And for you to arrange them from Kenya.
Yes.
The power of external
wing.
Yes.
Although people don't value us, but we're the ones who want.
Who did what it takes.
Most important thing, that's why I was talking of having a dialogue. Because this gun issue is not going to take us anywhere as a country. We have to remove the gun out of our politics. For example, how come Kenya has had so many presidents, Tanzania and all these? Because, I mean, that's why I was talking of, now what really brought problems after the fall of, after removing Mutesa 66, there was this centralized power. Decentralization and centralization. This is the problem. And I think we might have sit down How come, for example, Nairobi is called a county? It's a county. They get the allocation in the budget, whatever it is, which is not the case here. Because I think in the GDP, all the money stay at the center. All the districts and whatnot get about only 20% of the GDP. Okay, but everything is kept there. This is very important. Then there's another thing which I wanted to raise for people to live happily with their neighbors. Me as a person, we are two people, two human beings living in one body. Two human beings living in one body. For example, it is like this side and this side. For example, when you get injured, you can't feel the pain. And if you get injured, you cannot feel the pain. Isn't that true?
That is true.
Okay. Now, when I'm talking that we are two people using the same body, for example, my left brain controls the right hand side of my body and vice versa. When this arm gets injured, this one doesn't feel the pain. Same leg and whatever, same eye and this and that. So now, if you can follow this narrative, we can stop doing some of these things. Because now one thing is what we call rules of good conduct. There are 7 of them.